Now that scare season is really that close, it really does get me quite excited every year, especially around sort of late August, early September when this video will be going live. And every year I find myself, before being able to go to these attractions, finding myself wanting to go to something to get into the swing of things when it comes to these sort of attractions. So most of the time at this time of the year, I find myself visiting immersive actor-led experiences. Not necessarily fully scare attractions, some of them are, but a lot of actor-led experiences to get myself into the swing of things, and thought, why not make a video on my top 5 immersive experiences that I would recommend going to that are open all year round. That's the benefit of these, and some of them aren't necessarily too intense in terms of actor-led, some are just really immersive and good fun. So first up, in at number 5, we have the London Dungeons. Now this is one which even says on the website, don't class it as something like you've done for a scare maze. It is not highlighted in just being scary. And it is a very good fun thing to visit with a lot of your friends. I often actually visit this one after Scarefest. It's a good thing to do over the close season because it's very good fun. It's a pretty lengthy experience, and if you go to the Dungeons experiences and have a Merlin pass, it's included. So it's a way you can use your pass when you can't go into those theme parks. And I will say, I've said the London Dungeon here because of all the ones I've done, I prefer the London Dungeon. I just think it's a little bit better in my opinion. Obviously opinions differ from everything. Even the things I've ranked in this video, opinions will differ. But yeah, it's a really good attraction to visit, and it's definitely one that you should use if you've got a Merlin pass. And the other benefit of the London Dungeons is it also is taking you into the history of London. It is something where you are gaining something from it. You're having fun while going along with it, but you're also learning some quite interesting facts about London's history. After that, we have one which is incredibly good fun, and that is the Gunpowder Plot, staying in London, and it is obviously themed to the Gunpowder Plot with the experience. I've taken down notes here because I want to make sure I portray the experience to what it's going to be, where it says, the attraction's storyline will take you back to the streets of London in 1605, where you'll find yourself sympathising with the rebels involved with the Gunpowder Plot. And then this attraction will take you along with that storyline with some very fun twists and turns involved in it, with some sort of changes in what you'd expect the attraction to be like in many ways, which is really good fun. And I have to say this again, this attraction has a very strong educational element because obviously it's going into history. So it's another one of those attractions which isn't only an immersive bit of fun, it's also you're sort of learning stuff from it, which is really good to see. After that, we're still in London. I've just realised a lot of these out of these 5 are in London, but okay, we'll stick with it. And we have at number 3, the London Bridge Experience. Now this attraction is one which I hadn't discovered until a few years back. And I actually discovered it as an alternative originally to the London Dungeons because it's, for part of this attraction that you can go to, it's very similar to the Dungeons in that not necessarily full storylines, but in the Dungeons you go from room to room where you're taken into different parts of history. The London Bridge Experience has that as a very fundamental part of this attraction, and it is very good fun as an alternative to the Dungeons. They are very, very similar in terms of what they deliver, but they're both very good in that element. I wouldn't really be able to pick them apart for that. But the reason that the London Bridge Experience takes the highest spot in this list, for me personally, is because the jewel in the crown of the London Bridge Experience is you can also experience the London Tombs, which is essentially a scare maze in this attraction, which is very, very well structured in terms of set design and everything. Some incredible actors in there that go for it every single group they get through there. They really are full on, and it is a very, very good scare maze, I have to say. It is really worth the money to go to this one. So if you've been to the Dungeons and think, well, you're bored of that, go to the London Bridge Experience because you've got that fundamental part that the Dungeons has. Then you can also choose afterwards to do the London Tombs, which is, well, it's a scare maze, and it really does deliver on the scares for that part because, my God, that is impressive. And that's before you even mention that the London Bridge Experience is, as the name would suggest, at London Bridge. It is underneath the London Bridge, which is just swarmed with history, really, isn't it? It is a very historically significant place for London, so that is a very highly recommended one for me. I'd definitely recommend checking that one out. In at number 2 is one I didn't do until recently, and I have to say, after going in this attraction, I will non-stop recommend this to people because I personally found it incredible and I can't believe I hadn't visited it sooner, and that is the War of the Worlds experience in London. And this attraction is incredible because if some of you watching this have heard, obviously you've got the War of the Worlds, the novel, and you've got the films around it and everything, but more specifically into that, if you've heard Jeff Wayne's music rendition of the War of the Worlds, which is essentially, for those of you who haven't listened to it, I'd recommend listening to it as well, especially if you're going to this, listen to it before visiting. And essentially Jeff Wayne's audio rendition of this is the story of the War of the Worlds told through a musical rendition, and it's a very good listen. But the cool thing about this attraction is it takes you through the story of it with the music undertone the entire way through. So you are led through with that soundtrack and the very iconic score. I'm sure a lot of you will know from the intro score to it, with sort of intro riff, I guess it's called, but it's more just the music score that's known for it, will take you through this attraction. The only bit which I'll say drains from it a tiny bit is they do very heavily lean on VR for a lot of the scenes, which makes sense for a lot of it. If you're staging a Martian invasion, sometimes set design can be a little bit limiting, but I would like to have seen this attraction maybe implement just a few more sets. But I have to say, it is a very good attraction, and the VR they use in this attraction is some of the best I've seen in these attractions, in terms of it does track your hands and everything moving within it, so it doesn't feel too removing from the plot, but it's definitely one I'd recommend going to, because I'm already booking to go again later this year because it is that good. It really is a very fun attraction, especially at the end and in the middle. You've got cocktail bars with themed cocktails to the sort of story of it, so you can have like the red weed cocktail and everything. It is really cool. In at number 1, it's no shock it's at number 1, it is a fan favourite, and it is Passaje Delterra. Now this is again a scare attraction, very much more just scare attraction, not too much in terms of the immersive actor-led. It is actor-led obviously, but it's more focused on scares, I will say. But Passaje Delterra is one which is a favourite of mine. It's located outside the Blackpool Pleasure Beach. It's a very good scare attraction, pretty decent in length actually for a scare attraction, and very good fun. Now this is one which I think is better if you don't know what's coming. Now they do change things around in here, so I wouldn't ruin it too much, but it is one which I'd recommend going into and just experiencing it firsthand, because it is a very good attraction and is one which I definitely recommend visiting, and that is why it's taken the number 1 spot. Now I will say there are so many which I didn't put in this list because I was struggling to rank them in terms of, because it was my top 5 and things that I've done and enjoyed. There were so many, like people have mentioned Phantom Peak in London's a good one. I haven't done that personally. One which is very well known within sort of the theme park space, the Museum of Horrors, I've heard nothing but good things about and haven't visited myself, mainly because it sounds quite full on, but I do need to eventually, because it does sound incredible. That's one which is definitely worth visiting. There is so many more, but I just put the top 5 which I would want to visit every year and have done. So I'd love to know what immersive experiences you will enjoy and would recommend going to, because chances are I will visit them, because I found I do really enjoy these sort of immersive experiences, and especially the ones that have sort of a few scares in the way. So please do put it in the comments. Thank you all for watching. If you did enjoy this video, please do like and subscribe. It really does help this channel out and does make the world of difference, and I'll see you all in the next one.